Okay, welcome everybody. It's time for some Monday action. We have some great setups. One thing I'm going to do a little bit different today is oftentimes I find myself mentioning pairs that I'm semi-interested in right now, but they may or may not give us something in the next couple of days. And I'm just going to skip over that because right now we have about 5 pairs that are just great setups right now. So whether they play out for the entire week or they all just break out and go today, it's all just let's just jump into some trades right now and let's just get some things going, and we'll kind of ride everything out into the mid and end of week and so on. So let's get right down to that. Just a little reminder, you can get a 5-day free trial for all those visitors. You can get a 5-day free trial to the live trading group. We have 2 things that we do. We have the live trade room, which you're all currently in right now, which meets twice a day throughout the week. And that is a $79 a month membership. You can get a free trial for that right here, or you can get the access to all these recordings, and you can see all the posted trades that we have throughout the week and so on. And that's only $37 a month, which you can also get a free trial right there. So, and you can also save some pretty good cash on an annual membership, so that's right there as well. And you can get that all at this link right here. I will post for everybody. There you go. Okay, so a little quick look at what we have coming up today. Tuesday, tomorrow morning, of course, for all of my regulars, we'll have a live session for this, but that's consumer confidence for the U.S. We should see some decent moves there. A little bit of German news. Wednesday, we have ADP, we have advanced GDP for the U.S., we have the FOMC statement. Wednesday is a huge day for all dollar pairs. Just keep that in mind. Thursday, we have a whole bunch of news, as you can see right there. German, Canadian, U.S., Aussie news, so on and so on. And then Friday, we're hit with some non-farm payroll action in the U.S. and ISM. So there's a good bit of news this week, and some of it's very, very important, so it could get pretty exciting. Okay, let's get down to the charts. All right, so the pairs that I'm really interested in right now essentially are Euro-Dollar, Dollar-CAD, Aussie, New Zealand, Pound, Swiss franc, and Euro Pound. Those are really the only ones that I have any amazing setups on. Here's what we have going on with the Euro Dollar right now. The Euro Dollar has been in a pretty nice little decline. It's down nearly 200 pips in the last 2 weeks. So you know, it's made a bit of a move. It's nothing major. I mean, 200 pips in 2.5 weeks is not super on the radar. But the thing that it has done very nicely, that has gotten us very excited, is the fact that it has made a pretty steady decline without much retracement. And it is now a decent 1-hour correction setup. So here we have on the 1-hour chart, we're just about 230 bars out from the 200 moving average on the 1-hour chart. So what I'm starting to look at on this Euro Dollar is the fact that I think we're ready for a little bit of a pullback. We have last week's missed weekly pivot, which is up here about 135.50, and here we are about 134.40-ish area. And it's made a nice little dip on this 4-hour chart. It's gone through some nice levels. You can see on the weekly, we're just sitting on that weekly 200 moving average. This is a great spot for the Euro Dollar to make a little bounce before it makes a bigger continuation down. And that's all I'm looking for. If we can get an 80 to 100 pip bounce off of this 200 moving average, you can see it started the week, it pounded right into that 200 moving average, and then the next candle is printing bullish. So that's a pretty good sign for, you know, for this little correction, this little bounce that we're looking for, and that I think we're going to be able to get. So we have a nice little trend line that's kind of been going from these highs and kind of running on down. Again, we have our current weekly pivot, which is 134.66, which is a couple of pips above current market price, and then we have our last week's weekly pivot, which is 135.50. So basically, to say the least, what I'm looking for is a break of this trend line, and on the optimistic side, I think we're going to be able to get to 135.50, and on the slightly less optimistic side, I'm looking for about 135.100. So we have anywhere from a 50 to a 100 pip trade. I would never be crazy bullish long Euro Dollar. Not that I would never be, but right now, and probably over the next several weeks, I'm not looking for a big bullish move, but I am looking for a correction for sure. So So let's watch this trend line, and we're going to be looking at things, you know, above about, probably safe to say above 134.50. We should be looking to get long into about 135.00 and 135.50 euro dollar. Everyone good with that? I don't really have any excellent setup to the downside. I don't really see anything that I'm super looking for on the move down. We have a little 200 moving average setup here on the 15-minute chart that's not super far out. It's really all looking good on the 1 hour chart. So again, that's why it's just kind of a smaller setup. It's really a 50 to a 100 pip setup. From about the 135.00 to 135.50 area, I will be strongly considering getting short euro dollar and trading it on down. I still think euro dollar's headed into 130 and into even the high. We have a big missed target down there at 127.50, and I think that is a super real possibility. So that's what we're looking for. Is everyone else good on audio? Do we have good audio for everybody? Dave looks like he's having some audio problems. Is that group wide? Is audio good for everyone else? Okay, all right. So yeah, sometimes we have some little audio issues, but okay, all right. It will be recorded, and it should be. You'll have a chance to kind of rewatch everything and so on. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for on euro dollar, just FYI, and you know, and again, we're gonna. I would like to get short euro dollar up around 135.50 if we see that. Okay, here is dollar CAD. Now, I've been talking about dollar CAD for quite a little bit, and it's breaking out of this big channel right here. But the thing that I'm a little concerned about, and this is the level I specifically talked about, was getting a daily open above 108.15. And look what it did. It ran up to 108.15 and just has not been. It's just closed right on 108.15 a couple of times, and then it's making a little bit of a run down here. Not super worried about the rundown. I think dollar CAD's still going to be able to head up pretty nicely. What I want to trade here, how I want to play this, is we could get a nice little rundown to the current weekly pivot, which wouldn't be too terribly far. It'd be about 20 pips. From there, I think we have a nice opportunity to run it back on up. So basically, our safest bet is going to be trading this as a traditional bull flag. I don't know if I'm going to buy the dip on this one, just because dollar CAD can be a little bit crazy. I'd rather buy the break. So let's buy the break of 108.15, which is going to be our trend line and a whole bunch of things here. So we get back above 108.15, which is only 15 pips away. Let's buy dollar CAD, and we have some pretty nice targets up here. We have like 110 and 11100. Areas. So I think we should at least target about 100 pips from the break of 108.15. So we'll be long dollar CAD at the break of 108.15. Pretty easy. That's about all I've got going on with that one for the moment. Aussie New Zealand, I don't like being long New Zealand anything, but we have a pretty good little setup on this Aussie New Zealand, so I think we have a pretty good little trade in the works here. So, excuse me, guys. Oh, good grief. I'm allergic to all this sunshine, apparently. Okay, so Aussie New Zealand has made a nice little bull flag, which is probably going to play out a little bit, and this is where this is where I think we have a really nice opportunity. So first off, we can just pretty simply trade the break of this bull flag, and I think this isn't my major trade here, by the way. So I think we can trade the break of this bull flag. So you can see that basically anything above about 110.15, and it's 110.10 almost right now. So anything above that 110.15, let's just buy the Aussie New Zealand and trade it on up. Now, on the Aussie New Zealand, as far as profit targets go, you can see we're getting into some probably, I think that's a yearly high right there, which is only about 110.35, so it's only about another 20 pips. But we break that, and there could be some pretty big, pretty nice runs up. Now, remember, it's summertime, things can be a little bit choppy. We don't quite get the big movement in summer that we get, right at the end of summer. So this might make a big break and make a big run, and if it does, that's great. Let's be ready for it, and let's hold on to this one and trade it right on up through that 110.15 area. But in the process, the Aussie New Zealand has made a pretty nice little run away from our 200 moving average on the 1 hour chart. We're about 217 bars away. And so what I'm looking at here is I'm just looking for a better price pattern. I'd like to see a better price pattern, and it might end up just being a break south of this of the bottom of this bull flag right here. And if it breaks that, we could see a decent run. We have about about 70 pips to get down into the 200 moving average. We have about 40 pips into the weekly pivot, and so on. So I'm going to be a little bit careful with this one. It's pretty safe to say, once again, if we break 110.15, let's be long and let's just buy it on up. No problem. Everything's great there. If, however, it starts to head down just a little bit, we're going to need a slightly better price pattern to get short, but basically it's going to be really hard for this Aussie New Zealand to make much more of a run up before it retraces. And that retracement should be anywhere from 40 to 60 pips, and that's where I'm saying we have probably a pretty decent opportunity to trade this down just a little bit, down into the 10900 area probably. But again, I'd like to see just a tiny bit better of a price pattern before we trade that. Obviously, a bull flag is likely to break up, so if it breaks up and gives us a nice little move there and then creates a rising wedge on this 1 hour chart, that's going to be a super easy trade to get in short. It's probably going to go long before it goes short. So we're going to be looking to trade that 110.15 long, and then as it creates a nice rising wedge there, we'll be able to get a nice entry short on this one at the break of that rising wedge. But the rising wedge is not present yet, so we have to wait a little bit for that. So right now, we're just simply looking for a break of that 110.15. But remember, we're 230 bars out. I think I said 230 or 215 or 220, something like that. Anyways, it's over 200 bars out from the 200 moving average on the 1 hour chart, which means that there is a very high likelihood that this will be coming back much sooner than not. So right now we're going to lean towards the bull flag trade, but we're going to be very, very ready for that reversal and that run back down to 10900. But ideally, once again, I'd like to get a little bit of a better price pattern before I take that entry. Okay, that is Aussie New Zealand. I don't have anything on Euro, Pound, CAD, anything. I do like the dollar Swiss franc, and this is just the exact opposite of the euro dollar. So euro dollar is making a nice little, we have a nice little falling wedge here. So nice little falling wedge there, and we have a nice rising wedge on dollar CAD, or excuse me, on dollar Swiss franc. So nice little rising wedge. We have current weekly pivot has not been touched, and then we have missed weekly pivot from last week down at 89.60. Which obviously has not been touched either. So again, same kind of situation. 4 hour chart's not crazy far out, but it's almost 60 bars. That's something. But the 1 hour chart again is over 200 bars out. I think we're about 230. We have to be somewhere around 230, 225 ish on this dollar Swiss franc. So what I'm looking for here is just simply a break of this price pattern here. So probably our weekly low is going to be our best bet. The break of that 90.35 area to get this thing running down into the moving averages and down into some of these areas. Obviously, it's not a very appealing trade if we get a break down into the current weekly pivot. That's like 12 pips, so I'm not super interested in that one. But I'm a lot more interested in this guy, which is a move down into last week's pivot, and the 200 moving average on the 4 hour chart, which is a little over 70 pips. So look for a break of that 90.35 to short dollar Swiss franc. Stops above the highs here. It's all pretty channeled. There's not any major large stops to be looking for. We're just going to be trading the break of that weekly low and targeting, again, the weekly pivot at around 89.50-60 area. Okay, quickly onto the euro pound. I am infamously long euro pound, and I think this is going to, it's just ridiculous to assume that the euro pound is going to go any further down before it makes a pretty decent correction. We haven't seen too many of these where it's 355 bars out on the 4 hour chart. And we're even a pretty good little distance out on the daily chart. So I think we're about 106 bars on the daily chart. The 1 hour is getting a little choppy here, and it's bouncing around. But what I like on this on this euro pound is we're in it, and I think it's going to continue on nicely. Is just staying in this thing against these lows right here. So I like the euro pound against those lows, which are about 40 pips away. Obviously, the closer you can get into about 7,900, the better. That tightens up your stop to even 30 pips. And we're targeting, at the very least, we're going to target, I mean, I think we have to at least target this daily pivot up here, which is about 79.85. I think 80, just the 80 even, is a good area. That's the 23% fib on this whole move, and that's a really significant level. And plus, it's just a good old round number. So there's at least 100 pips in buying this on a little bit of a dip with stops below 78.70. And targeting about the 80 level. I think it's semi just ridiculous that this could go too much lower before it starts to correct, and so I'm holding on to that correction. Sometimes you got to bite a couple of fingernails in the process, but euro pound is headed up. It's headed up. So that's what I'm looking for there on euro pound. Pound Swiss franc, same exact setup. So we have a very nice rising wedge on this daily chart, and I like, we have a current pending order below this little break right here, but I like buying this thing, or excuse me, selling this thing with a target of at least 15200, but ultimately I'd like to see 150 get hit, but 15200 is a minimum target. And shorting it at current market price is not horrible. One opportunity you have here is just entering right around current market price. If you get a break above this high of about 20 pips, you get stopped out, you jump out of it, and you look to get in a little bit closer to this high. So currently we're about 80 pips off the major high right there. And if it breaks above this 153.70, I gave my group members a little bit of an update last night. If it gets above 153.70, it's probably going to give us a double top or something, which is fine. But I like shorting the pound Swiss franc ultimately against this 154.30 area with a target of 15200. But again, this 153.70, if it breaks above that, then it's going to give us an even better entry to get in short at a little bit of a higher price against a double top or something along those lines. Otherwise, the other safest opportunity would be just sell the break of 15300, which is about 50 pips away. So I'm staying kind of the course on this CAD Swiss franc. I think it's a great setup, and I think we have some really nice runs coming up on that one. So those are all the setups that I'm looking for right now. I think I lied to you. I think I said there's 5, and then there's actually 6. So we have Euro Dollar, Dollar CAD, Aussie New Zealand, and Dollar Swiss franc. That was the 6th one right there. And then we have Euro Pound and Pound Swiss franc. So these are all great looking setups. This is again kind of a bit of a general outlook for how these trades I think will and can play out. If you're interested in more details and getting very specific entries, very specific stop losses, very specific and even moving profit targets, I recommend getting a free trial to the trade group this week and seeing exactly how we trade and exactly how we manage all these setups here, because we have some really, really excellent ones going into this week. I hope to see you guys with us in this, with at least a free trial, and otherwise I'm looking forward to seeing all my regular members with us this week. We have some really, really excellent setups, and I think we should make some good bucks this week. So thanks a bunch, everybody. Thanks a million for participating. I'm going to get this recording posted, and I'll take some questions. Anyone have any questions, comments about anything?